We are honored to have our panelists with us here today. We are going to start today's session first by hearing from each of the panelists on the statement around which this panel is organized. That is, renewable energy technologies are a sustainable solution for meeting today's growing energy needs.
So I really wanted to, over the next few minutes, talk about this word renewable and sustainable. So how does renewable feed into this idea of sustainable solutions? So when we're thinking about sustainability, we're thinking about those three pillars. So people, planet, profit. Often we don't give equal leverage to all of those three pillars. So we maybe think about how, first of all, a solution might be economically viable or even profitable, how it works for society. But often the sort of coherent and complete thinking around the environmental impact of some of these solutions isn't completed, because it's very difficult to look at the whole life cycle, for example, of some of these renewable energies. So when we're trying to balance those three pillars.
To me, that is actually the big problem, is how much energy do we actually need to give enough energy to everybody to be equitable? As a high energy using society, we should be dropping our energy usage greatly to help bring up the people who don't have access to that energy. Who are we to say, no, you can't have a car, no, you can't have a phone, there's not enough materials for you, we've used it all. That is actually going to be an energy reduction process with luck, not an energy growth process, because we're going to have enough problems hitting CO2 targets without any more growth.
It's a tough sell, isn't it? I mean, already it's a tough sell to say to the general public, you know what, you shouldn't fly to your holidays. Why don't you go to Bognor Regis or something, you know, rather than Spain? And when you start telling people that they can't have their cars, which they've had for, you know, they got used to over the last 60 or 70 years, that's quite a step change in the way society works.
I totally agree with Paul and Nick on this. I haven't met any economist who is justifying that, you know, just pull down the growth in developed countries and somehow relocate it to the developing countries. I don't think that's how it's going to work. It is mainly about investing in better research and technologies, which is going to be originated from developed countries and then will be imitated by developing countries. They may have advantage of backwardness where they don't have to invest in research and development. But I mean, suggesting that I turn off my heating over here, so 3 or 4 households can have cleaner cooking fuels straight away in India. It's not that simple, you know.
For me, there's a clear scientific consensus that there is a climate emergency, and a key aspect of tackling this is undergoing a fundamental transition from a fossil fuel-based economy towards a low carbon-based economy. But what's often overlooked in discussions around this transition to a low carbon economy is that it will mean a significant uptick in mining activities, for the fundamental reason that to succeed, we require more metals and we require different metals. So as an example, a single wind turbine has 5 tons of copper, it has 1 ton of rare earths. An electric vehicle has 30 times more copper than a conventional car. I guess this goes back to what Paul talked about in terms of scale. You know, so the World Bank estimates that to meet the global demand for energy generation via renewables, we will need over the next 25 years to extract the same tonnage of copper than we have ever extracted in the history of mankind.
So that's where I see the problem is, and it's a problem of scale, and that's the bit I can't. We have to work on a scale issue.